everyone, Lauren Culp here, President and CEO at CUInsight.com, and I'm bringing you a 3 questions video interview today with a really special guest, a repeat guest. I'm so excited to have her back. Joining me is Andrea Brown. She is the SVP of Growth at Lodestar. We've got some really cool things to talk about today. Andrea, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
It is. Well, I'm really excited to talk to you about some of the capabilities that Lodestar has. Specifically, I'm curious how Lodestar's CRM API integration enhances the marketing efficiency of credit unions, and maybe what some of the tangible benefits are that marketing teams can expect from the streamlined data flow.
Yeah, so this is something that we are all really excited about here at Lodestar. Before I answer the question, I'm going to give just a little bit of background on myself. So I spent many years in the marketing department of a credit union where I'm located here in Indiana. And during that time, I led the data team under the marketing umbrella. So our organization really recognized how important data-driven decisions were for everybody across the organization, but perhaps most importantly, the marketing area. So this is where I was first introduced to Lodestar, where I built out a data strategy using the Lodestar platform because my credit union was, and they still are, a Lodestar client. So that's the background. And now back to the question and why I'm really excited about what we have done here with the CRM API integration. When I was in my role, I remember how hard it was to find a good way to keep our CRM data and our marketing automation platform in sync with all of the other data that we had available through our core, our LOS, our digital banking, just, all of the different siloed data sources, right? So we used Lodestar to bring all of that data into a multi-source data warehouse so we could then push that data out through the organization. But still, it was challenging to find a marketing tool that could kind of keep up with the volume and the quality and quantity of data. So, this was several years ago before I joined the company. So I'm sure things have gotten a little bit better, but honestly, I still have conversations with clients regularly because they can't find a solution that can handle all of the data they have and that they want to use. So, we're in the age of hyper personalization, right? So more data means more personalization, but a lot of platforms can't handle all of that data, or even we'll get into situations where a marketing tool almost wants to create its own mini data warehouse because they want you to anticipate all of the data that you would need, put it all into their marketing tool. And then if you have an idea that you didn't already anticipate, you're kind of out of luck. So this is where when our client came to us about building out an API integration with their CRM, they found one that it would work with, and we started digging into the project, and it was really like one of those moments where like everything kind of clicked, and we were so excited because now we could push data from Lodestar into the CRM, make sure everything stays up to date. So when there's a change in the core, it's fed through into the CRM. And then we're able to complete the circle and actually bring data from the CRM marketing automation tools back into the data warehouse. So it creates this constant feedback loop, and it gives the organization visibility into that whole life cycle, whether that's a campaign or just any type of member communication.
That is so cool. And as an organization ourselves here at CUInsight that is working on some marketing automation things, I'm especially excited to hear all of the opportunities for credit unions, especially with the many, many sources of data and types of data that they have. So that is really cool to hear about. Can you share for us 2 more details about maybe a recent success story of a credit union that integrated their data warehouse with HubSpot using Lodestar's CRM API? And what specific improvements in marketing operations and member engagement did they experience?
Yeah, so HubSpot is just one of the examples. We can do this with any CRM that has an API capability, but HubSpot's the one that, that original client came to us. They're like, HubSpot can take the data, we can ingest it. They have the API, and it all kind of came together. So it was really exciting. Like I mentioned, just by kind of bringing everything together, bringing it all full circle. And really, some of the main things that we're hearing are that the marketing teams can have more control when they want to launch a campaign or send out communications. in the older, in the before times for this organization, they would have to decide, the criteria for their campaign, submit a list request to their IT department, maybe wait for it to turn around, append all the data they needed, probably still some manual manipulation of the data once they get the list back, right? And then import it into a platform to push out the communication. And then, maybe there's some manual data entry on the back end if they get unsubscribes or bad email addresses, all of those things. So now with this API integration, they just have control. They can execute a lot more quickly. And they don't have to sacrifice the personalization. A lot of credit unions aren't doing targeted marketing because their data is all over. They don't have a way really to push all of the data out. Or if they are, they're doing it kind of at a light level. They haven't gotten into the details that they would like. So that's a really nice thing about this capability. The client is able to take advantage of the depth of data in their warehouse, push meaningful information into HubSpot using the API. And then, like I mentioned, they have full visibility into what's happening because they can bring that data back into Lodestar. So they get to use the native functionality of HubSpot, which makes it really easy to use, push out campaigns, push out communications, and then bring that data back in. And, from a member perspective, they're getting a lot better engagement because their communications are targeted, they're personalized, they're relevant, and most importantly, they're measured. So they're seeing really great results in that area.
That is so cool. And you touched on it a little bit, but I'm curious, overall, when you're looking at Lodestar's CRM API integration, how would you say it really fosters loyalty and trust among credit union members and helps credit unions even just stay competitive in such an evolving market?
Mhm. Yeah, so I think by now we all know consumers want to be known, right? They want to be valued and they want you to prove that you know them and value them. And it's not just credit union members, it's all consumers all across the board, um, all across, different industries. And of course, the typical examples, the Netflix, the Uber, the DoorDash experiences, those companies are always using their data consistently to prove that they know their consumers. And now consumers want the same thing from their financial institutions. And sometimes they want even more from their financial institutions. I think they're starting to realize how much data their bank or credit union has on them. And then they're starting to expect you to use that wisely in a way that benefits them. So that's why it's really important for credit unions who haven't to invest in a multi-source data warehouse. Get your hands on all of that data, break down those silos all across your organization. Because without doing that, it's really pretty impossible to know your members fully and to communicate with them in a personalized way. So, like I mentioned, a lot of credit unions still aren't doing targeted marketing because they don't have all that data together. They don't have the insight and the visibility. And, maybe even worse, some are doing it with incomplete or inaccurate data. So it's understandable, right? They've got all these silos. There's a lot of struggles, and credit union folks wear a lot of hats, so they don't have the time to spend piecing it all together manually. So bringing it back around to your question, with a data warehouse like Lodestar Solution, you can empower, we can empower our clients to bring all of their data into a single place that can be used then to build personalized communications. So taking it to the next level with the CRM API integration, then they push those insights into a marketing tool. That allows them to really get to that level where they're pushing out relevant, timely communications to their members. They are actually proving that they do know them. They're proving that they do value them. So really doing that consistently, just showing up, knowing who they are, knowing what they care about is the best way to build loyalty and trust.
I love all of the capabilities that Lodestar is able to offer to credit unions. And I think to your point, targeted marketing and showing our members that we know who they are, it doesn't feel Big Brother anymore, maybe the way that it would have 10 years ago. But today it's almost expected. It's, it's just kind of the baseline. And so it's really cool to hear about all of the capabilities you offer.
Yeah.
As we wrap up our conversation, do you have any final thoughts for our audience today or final asks of our listeners?
Yeah, just with your last comment, it kind of made me think about conversation I had recently with a credit union where they're saying, we don't have a sales culture. We don't really want to be selling to our credit unions. And so many of us feel that way. But when you do it this way, when you're using data to find what is important to that member, it's the credit union way, right? We're using it in a way that helps people. We're finding out if somebody is at risk for financial hardship, or if somebody, maybe needs to skip a pay on their loan, or maybe they need a credit card or a mortgage refinance. So many options, so many opportunities, and really just taking that data, being able to put together that full picture allows you to help your members in such a more meaningful way. And again, it really builds that loyalty and that trust, and that's what makes lifelong and even generational credit union members. So all that to say, obviously we're pretty excited about these new capabilities. We're really excited about what credit unions can do for it and how we can enable and empower our clients and our credit unions to serve their members even better.
That is just a great way to wrap up our conversation today. But we are going to link to Andrea's contact information and that for her team at Lodestar. So anybody who is interested in getting in touch, we'll have that right in the post here. Andrea, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. It is great getting to catch up with you. And thank you to all of our listeners today for tuning into our 3 questions video interview series. And we will be back again next time.